everybody, welcome back. Okay, I got a question for you, Bishop, and we were talking. When you say John 3:16, you basically quoted that scripture just now.
Yes.
And when I looked up the world, he was talking about his orderly arrangement.
Yes.
So I don't believe that he came for everybody. I believe in God's predetermined choice, election.
I do believe that too.
Because when somebody asked me this one time at Bible study, they said, you know, on one of my shows, like, oh, you don't believe that he died or he came for everyone? I said, well, if he loves everybody or came for everybody, then he would have loved Judas. And he said that he didn't keep Judas.
Well, of course he loved Judas. He loved every human being. That's unconditional love. The message goes out to everybody. Many are called,
but few are chosen.
The message has to go out to everybody. Which means that everybody comes under the judgment of receiving the word or not receiving the word.
But if you're not chosen.
And if you don't receive the word, of course, then I could classify you as not being chosen, of course. That's an easy way to do it.
But isn't that God who decides?
But at the end of the day, yes, the choice is his, because we are chosen in him before the foundation of the world.
Right.
And so, but the word is presented to everybody. And here's why. Because you don't know who is chosen and who isn't.
Exactly.
So the word is presented to everybody, and those who receive it, receive it.
Well, do you believe Jesus loved everybody?
Of course.
Really?
Of course. See, unconditional love is subjective. Anytime you deal with agape, it is subjective, and God is love. So there's absolutely no way for him to operate outside of his love.
But if you saying that it's, I'm sorry, if you saying it, because my mind is short, if you saying it's conditional, there's a lot of things in the Bible that talks about
unconditional.
You said unconditional, and I think a lot of things are conditional, because he says, if you love me, keep my commandments. And that's a condition. And then he said he loved Jacob and he hated Esau before they were born.
Well, the Hebrew there is loved less, not hated, not. The word is not contradistinctive in its application. It's loved less. He loved Jacob, he loved Esau less. But that's all because of the operation of choosing and the sovereignty of God, which we cannot deny in any theological conversation. You cannot deny his sovereignty. Sovereign. But now understand this. Without unconditional love, you could never be chosen by grace. Because it's unconditional love that makes the choice by grace. Because now grace becomes unmerited favor. So God chooses to give unmerited favor to whom he chooses, and he chooses not to give unmerited favor to whom he doesn't choose, but he still loves everybody. You see,
but if you say we're on a boat, and if you loved me, you would save me from the boat and I'm drowning.
Yes.
Okay, now if you didn't love me, you would say, forget you, Vanessa, and throw me back in the boat, or you wouldn't save me at all. So those who he loved, he saves.
But let's put it another way. Let's put it another way. Let's say I have my 3 children, and I holler at them, and I show them the way out.
Okay.
And one refuses not to take the way out, the others take the way out. And I reach over the side and pull those up who are reaching up for my hand. I reach over, and one does not reach up for my hand.
But
and the other 2 reaches up for my hand.
But love says it never fails, and love will make you like God. Oh, I see what you're saying. I do.
You see, what you can't eliminate in the choice of God is you can't eliminate human contribution.
Correct.
And
exactly.
human responsibility.
I agree.
Because again now, you're feeling the pain of your transformation, your salvation, all the time. You're feeling it. There's no analgesic, there is no anesthesia that takes you away from feeling it. Remember I said earlier, as it relates to wealth, God doesn't do that much for us. He does it through us.
Okay.
So my faith is a part of what he uses. Now, can he make me believe? Yes, he can. Does he turn the king's heart like he turns the river?
Is that why in the Bible
Yes,
it says
he
a lot
does.
that your faith has made you whole, or your faith when he's talking
That's
to?
exactly.
Is that where
And at the end of the day, it becomes your concept of God, because your faith is a fingerprint. Yours will never be like mine, and mine can never be like yours. It's a fingerprint. So you have to factor in very carefully human involvement in the process of God saving. So even though God is the one who's doing the saving, he saves through the faculties and through the machinations of the individual's mind and through the individual's will submitting itself to the will of God and the whole process of transformation. If I walked into the penitentiary today and I said, all of you are free, my blood set all of you free, and nobody would move, and I go in and I grab this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and the other one, I would not have been unfair.
It wouldn't have not.
I would not have been unfair.
You were right.
Because I told everybody, all of you are free. But they wouldn't move.
But he says that he works in you both to will and to do, and you can't even come to him unless he draws
No
you.
man
So if
comes
he
except the Father
right,
sends.
so if he doesn't draw an individual, then there's just no way you can come.
But he
to
draws you
him.
by his word. And you decide not to come.
So are you saying
ways.
that your will is stronger than
You see,
God's will?
both to do and to will.
Right.
But notice what he said. He said, work out your own
right.
salvation. Then he continues. He puts both God's
Fear and trembling.
Yes.
For it is him, God, who works in us both to will and to do of his good.
Notice, but he puts it all in a lump.
Right.
Because how else is it transferred? It's not ethereal. It's not mystical.
No.
It becomes very dialectical or practical. So God then has to operate within the machination of your own mind and your own thinking.
Okay, what does
That's how you
machination mean? I'm
machination
sorry.
just like
This-
the
what does that
mechanics
mean?
make, like
Okay,
machinery,
I didn't know.
like
Okay.
the machinery of a car
Okay,
operating.
okay, got
well,
it.
that's the same way it's going to operate to the individual, like you and I. So the process, because none of us have ever seen him at any time.
It's true.
And so we get his word, we believe in his word, and we operate within the parameters of his word. Now, it depends on who is presenting that word, because that word has been presented in ages past by dominant culture to keep slaves under control. And yet still, that same word that was preached to the slave, if they didn't have that same Bible, then the slave could not have endured the hardships of slavery. Because so the individual, as he or she assesses and as he or she responds to the stimuli of God, and God makes it happen so that the cross does not become insignificant.
Correct.
Somebody has to believe. He has to bring someone. Now, in bringing someone and in leaving someone else, he makes the glory of salvation even more significant.
Right. Well, that's what it to me when you just said that it brought me to Noah. That he says in the last days it will be like Noah. So he saved Noah and saved Noah and his family, and then he didn't save the other one.
But that's not the meaning. That's not the meaning.
Bishop,
that's not the meaning.
You said that's not the meaning.
The meaning was.
He said in the days of Noah, so it shall be when the coming of the Son of Man.
Here's the meaning. The meaning is that life will go on as usual, and then suddenly he will come. They will be giving in marriage. They will
drinking,
be eating. They'll be sleeping, waking, going to work as usual, and then instantly it will take place. That was the whole significance of that conversation. It was not dealing with volumes of people going and people being left in terms of numbers.
But why did he say the return?
Normalcy,
when his return.
In his return, when he comes back. The normalcy of your everyday operation, and suddenly he appears. That's it. That's all that text is saying. It's not talking about.
I'm going to have to read that text again, Bishop.
Okay. You have to interpret it properly.
Yeah,
you read it right.
Okay, we're gonna. You know what? We're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back more here with Bishop Noah Jones. Be back in a moment.